Qu'est-ce qui te ferait plaisir? Qu'est-ce qui te ferait vraiment plaisir? C'est ça que tu veux? C'est ça qui te ferait plaisir? Eh bien tiens, je t'emmène plein de petits bisous partout.
Hello, 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 hello. Can you hear me? Well, type in the chat if you can hear me. Yeah, I don't know what that was with that French thing. I appreciate you joining me. As you tell, I got another setup. I'm trying something a little different this time too. So let me know if you like it. If not, I can change it because of course I'm going to be changing it a bunch anyway. So tonight's going to be a little bit different. I will have somebody joining me at some point, but initially I'm just going to talk about a few things that I've been noticing as I do this. One, I want to talk about my intentions. Then the other thing I want to be able to talk about is some of the trends I've been seeing. And then the last thing I want to talk about was healing before I bring someone on. So let's get started. I see you in there, Sherry. Thank you very much. I can't type back right now because I'm straight live. But I can read the chat. So thanks you guys for typing in the chat so I can see how this works. Of course, like I told you, I'm trying a new setup. So I hope you enjoy. All right. So I want to get started with my intentions. So a lot of people may ask me why I do this and what were my intentions, and it took me a little time. It actually took the support of a men's group that I'm in, and we meet every Monday and we have conversations, and it took the support of them for me to actually think about it, because one of the topics that we had was to discuss our top 3 intentions. So when it came to doing something like this, I wanted to be able to think about my own intentions and why something like this is important to me and why I would want to do it. And right there you can see on the screen, for one, I want to be able to help, I want to be able to create, and then I wanted to be able to grow. And I wanted to do it a little differently than how I've normally done it throughout my life, because if you are familiar with my career, Of course, I work with the public. Children and families have been my life, specifically from prenatal, pregnant mom to 5-year-old. So I generally deal with the early childhood um, population, but I wanted to deal with something a little bit different. People looking for something a little bit different, people knowing they want something better, and people trying to figure out how to get that better. And since I am one of those people, I wanted to be able to share my experience and my time with you. So, of course, the first thing, what my intention was to be able to help. As I said before, I've been helping people for a long time, and I want to be able to help people in a different way. You know what I mean? Because I think a lot of things that we go through, we are taught that we have to basically just bear those things for the rest of our life. A lot of the spiritual things we study tell us about bearing our cross and all of these things. And for me, I wanted to be able to figure out a way to put my cross down. I definitely didn't want that burden or anything like that. So, and it actually took the help of a friend. So I was one of those people who I did all of the studying. I probably studied about every religion you could think of. I even was 5% for a while. And if you know me for college, I definitely started the Nation Gods of Earth. Laughing at it now because I'm still in the yearbook, but I started that. So I did all the studying for myself. And then I actually, like I mentioned in one of the previous lives, I actually tried therapy. I tried therapy 2 times. And one of the more difficult things about therapy is people always suggest that therapy is a good idea, and I 100% agree that it is a good idea. But the part of that story that people really don't tell you is how difficult it may be to find a therapist. And then the other part is therapy may not give you all that you're looking for, but it can be a good start. So for me, the first therapist I had, she was interesting. It seemed as though it was more of like a gossip session. She just really wanted me to come and have a conversation, and we just not even in a therapeutic way, because I understood the therapeutic background a little bit because I've done it with children for a long time. But like in a barbershop, beauty salon kind of talky way, not, you know what I mean, not really being helpful, but just listening to the gossip. And you couldn't pay me to not think that her and her husband, I was not pillow talk on some of their conversations. So of course I didn't like that. And then I tried it again with another guy. The guy tried to be a little strategic and pick something that I thought would match me a little bit. And like I mentioned in the last live, he took an approach where it was like a 12-step program. You know what I mean? Like I was joking about it, but it was like he was trying to help me get off crack. And I'm like, bro, I'm not on crack, so I hard pass. So, you know, I left that. And then the thing about it, with me understanding therapy, me doing a bunch of little work on myself, I do understood that therapy for the most part gives you the opportunity to be able to talk about things, right? And then a good therapist will be able to give you skills to be able to cope with things. But if you are anything like me, I was at a point where I didn't even want to cope with it. I wanted to be able to release it, let it go. And I didn't necessarily know where to go. And it was a friend that I've known since high school. He knew I was in this position, and he was in a similar position, so he actually signed us up a Reiki class. So what this does is allow me to help people who fail like me. You know what I mean? You've experienced a lot, you've seen a lot, you've done a lot, and you really just don't want to carry that burden. For a lack of better words, you want to put the cross down, not drag it to the finish line. You know what I mean? Now you will never forget the stories, and you will never forget what may have happened, but you don't want to carry the burdens of it for the rest of your life. So I wanted to be able to help people put down the burdens from the processes that I learned, you know what I mean, from going through it myself. And the second thing I wanted to do, I wanted to create something, and I really didn't know what it was. So I bet sometimes as you watch this, it seems like I'm figuring it out. Every week the show looks a little bit different. I wanted to create something that people could connect to. And for a lack of better words, which will come up a little bit later, I really wanted to create a safe space where people can feel vulnerable to express and release the experience that they have had. You know what I mean? So with this, it is a growing process, and I really wanted everybody to be a part of this process so they can witness it themselves, so they can understand that this process does take a lot of work, it takes a lot of patience, and it takes a lot of support. Then the other thing I wanted to be able to do was to grow. And this grow thing was a two-way street. I wanted to be able to help people grow, and then I wanted to be able to grow myself, which is definitely happening. One way I wanted people to grow is the idea of healing. You know what I mean? It is a scary process, and it takes a lot of work. And sometimes the way people talk about it, they make it sound so mystic and mysterious, and like you gotta be some Buddha specialist, or you know what I mean, you gotta be Jesus' little brother, Craig, to even understand the healing process. But the truth of the matter is, it's not really like that. And what I wanted to present myself is as a normal person doing the process. So I purposely don't want to look like the part, you know what I mean? I went through my Hotep phase. I had the locks, I want the cowrie shells, I talk all that nonsense, you know what I mean? But I'm not at that phase now. I'm a regular person with regular issues trying to solve regular problems. And I wanted to present myself that way. So I wanted to be able to help people's mindsets grow instead of being confined, because the way we talk about it, like I said, the way we talk about healing is so mystic and it's so mysterious, but no one ever really shows how the process goes. So I put that on Front Street for everyone. And those are my top 3 intentions for why I'm doing this. The next thing I wanted to discuss was some common themes that have been coming up in some of my readings. And 2 of the major ones that have came up several times and generally cause the most internal conflict or some sort of emotional conflict as people come to terms with new ideas and new perceptions of these words, neediness and clinginess. So I know the first one, of course, is neediness. Excuse me. And one thing that I want to say about neediness is, well, both of these words together, they get a negative connotation. So as I explain these words, I'm going to explain them in a way, I want to take away the idea of good and bad, because sometimes these are things that just is. And we apply the emotions to it, and sometimes we apply the wrong emotions to it, or we are influenced by societal dialogue and apply the wrong emotions to these things. So the first one is neediness. And in society, there's this idea, especially when it comes to human interactions and relationships, that wanting a relationship is better than needing a relationship. And one of the things that I wind up explaining to people when I'm doing the readings is wanting something is not better than needing it. Wanting something creates a very unsafe environment because wants change frequently. Today I want fried chicken. As a matter of fact, I'm going to eat ground turkey tacos tonight and probably fish tacos tomorrow because that's what I want. As opposed to water. That's something I need. I'm going to have that every day. Or food. That is something I need. I'm going to need that every day. You know what I mean? Or air. I'm going to need that every second. As a matter of fact, that's how much it needs. Needs don't change that much as wants. And what winds up happening to a lot of people is they suppress their needs because they think wants are better. You know what I mean? And the way the neediness shows up is a lot of us, we are human beings. And it is natural for us to want social interactions. And a lot of people have blocked off social interactions, and especially pair bonding, one-on-one bonding with committed relationships for the sake of peace. And the wild thing about that now, peace is becoming one of those words that is really code for a block. So what these people have done is deny the fact that they actually need these interactions and they're alone. So one of their energy is always off because they've suppressed something that they need because they really think that wants are better than needs. But this idea of neediness is just really accepting that there are certain things that you need in your life. And one of the things that I'm a person that I can confidently say, one thing that I need in my life is a woman. You know what I mean? So I never deny that although I may not always be in a relationship, because I do believe in healing, I believe in preparation, I believe in a whole lot of things. But I will never deny the need that is something that I want. I always remain open to it because of that. And then the next one is clinginess. Now, clinginess is an interesting thing because it is, like I said, it's one of those things that have a negative connotation as well. But I was one of those people who firmly believed that clinginess only came from a space that was of insecurity, right? So I really didn't like clinginess. And I know a lot of people, when they think of clinginess, they can agree. They think that it comes from a place of insecurity or they have some other, for lack of better words, negative connotation for clinginess. And I remember when my friends started getting married. One of them, my college roommates, one of my closest friends growing up. And I know for sure when it came to specifically relationships and dating, he wasn't the type of person who, well, he wasn't calling people, he wasn't checking on them, he was just out there living his best life, what I understood as a single person should, and I was living my best life with him. So now, of course, he gets married, and we still hang out, of course, we still allowed to live our best life, but something's very different about when we're out. So now, if we're out maybe an hour, hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, 3 hours, every so often at certain increments, he calls and checks with his wife. Or his wife calls and checks with him. So one thing that I understood, and I started to learn, that this idea of clinginess coming from a place of insecurity is not necessarily so. Sometimes it comes from a place of concern. Sometimes it comes from a place of trust. Sometimes it comes from a very good place. And knowing the person and knowing the situation and respecting that takes time for you to learn that. Now, how it winds up showing up is because when people think negative about cleanliness, they deny that is something that they need in their lives, or they feel ashamed that is something that they need in their lives. And sometimes it's just because they don't quite have the words to be able to express what they actually mean, or sometimes the words they say trigger negative responses from other people because it gave them negative experiences. But when it comes to neediness and clinginess, I definitely want people to think of it in new ways, as clinginess sometimes is a sign of caring and concern. And the best example I have of that is clinginess. And neediness is not necessarily a bad thing, because needing something can be more powerful than wanting something. And it definitely can provide a certain level of security. So if you are a person that feels like you need these things, do not be ashamed of these things at all. Because the only reason why they are seen as negative is because the perspective that people have and the perspective that we've chosen to take and the emotions that we slide and the emotions that we attach to these terms and these experiences. So the last thing I wanted to talk about is, hold on, let me take something off. Okay, so healing is a social event. So I mentioned this when I talked about that shadow diary, like you're gonna need help. And then now it's been kind of showing up in my life in very interesting ways. So one of the ways that healing winds up having to be a social event is you wind up needing support of families and friends that you didn't know. They will remind you of things that you didn't know. They will help you keep grounded. They will fill in some of the holes of your stories, right? So that you can get the whole picture. Because when you start this healing or when you are healing, you definitely want a full picture so that you can heal the whole thing. So you won't have this cycle of going back and going back, healing the same thing over and over because you only heal it in pieces. So the other way that healing winds up being a social event is it comes from new friends and new connections and new experiences. And all of those things come with new people. So you definitely have to put yourself vulnerable to be able to put yourself out there to ask for the assistance, or even if you don't know to ask, put yourself out there for new experiences, and through those experiences, healing comes. So I want to share specifically a story that's happening in my life currently. It's actually a current story that I am dealing with. So I have a friend I've been talking to, and we made plans to do something on Friday. Of course, things happened and we weren't able to do something on Friday, and I was a little hurt by it, right? But before all of this, we were having a conversation, and they mentioned something to me about wanting to be a safe place for me. And it was wild because when they said they wanted to be a safe place for me, after they told me this beautiful statement. It was very respectful, one that I appreciate. But after they said it, my response was kind of like, okay, you know what I mean? And the type of person that I am, I pay attention to that. Like I said, with this healing process, you really want to get to the whys. And when you get to your first answer, keep digging till you get to the third one. The third one's probably it. So I knew I was a little weird, you know what I mean? But I didn't think anything about it. I didn't say anything about it in that moment because I needed time to process it. So then, of course, we wound up not getting up. So my feelings are a little hurt about it. And but it's okay, you know what I mean? So I wind up doing some Reiki on another friend on Saturday. And in doing the healing exercises, one of the things that they want to do, we like to establish intentions, like what do you want to get out of this? And one of the things that they did was include me in their intentions. Now, I don't know what their intentions are because I don't ask that, but at some point they said they included me in their intentions. And it was just randomly as we were sitting there talking, and they just asked me a very specific question. They asked me, do I feel safe, right? And initially I wanted to be like, yeah, man, I love you guys. But then I had to think about it, and I realized that I was about to answer a question that didn't even be asked. So as I thought about it, no, I don't feel safe. And the thing about it is, do I feel physically safe? Yes. I've done a ton of stuff to allow myself to feel physically safe. I learned weapons, I learned hand-to-hand, I like jiu-jitsu, I grew up fighting. It was a bunch of things. So I feel physically safe, but emotionally safe where I can have a place to be vulnerable like I never have been outside of the male relationships that I've created long-term. And even with some of them, they're just now seeing things that they've never seen. Like I cried in front of my homeboy. He was like, I appreciate you being vulnerable enough to cry in front of me. But outside of that, I've never really had a safe place. So feeling safe to them, of course not, right? So now I've had 2 incidences of this word safe, right? And I'm like, why is this word bothering me, right? So I wound up doing the reading, and then I joined my men's call on yesterday. So this is how you know this is a very current story. I joined my men's call on yesterday, and we wound up having a conversation about, redefining our love, right? And in our conversation, I told the fellas this story about this safe word, and I admitted to them how triggering it was, and I didn't quite understand why. You know what I mean? So in talking to them, and it's about 7 people on the line right now. So at this, I call this a sign of group healing, because everybody's thinking about my conundrum and trying to come to some sort of conclusion about it, right? And as I'm thinking about it and as we're talking about it, one of the guys says something about how we're raised and basically conditioning and that nature versus nurture thing, right? And as much as we know about what we are conditioned, we aren't always aware of what we're missing because of what our conditioning is. So as we had this conversation, what I realized, one of the reasons why this word is triggering to me is, one, because I've never felt safe. I've never felt that kind of safe. And then 2, I've never actually even looked for that. So even in talking to the fellas, when we talk about what a man should look for in dating, what a man should ask of a woman, one thing that has never been on my list, and I can't say for any man, but as I talk to men, the men I interact with, I've never heard any of them say that word safe. They've never said, I've never even dated in the process of looking for a safe place. You know what I mean? I wanted to be loving. I wanted to be trusting. I wanted to be considered. I wanted to be thought of. I wanted to be, loyal. I wanted a lot of different things, but I didn't realize how important that safe word was if I didn't have these trail of experiences. So if I didn't put myself out there, if I didn't allow myself to be a part of somebody else's intentions, if I didn't bring it up to the fellas, I may not have ever understood one of the major things in my healing is recognizing one of the most important places for me to be is a place that I feel safe. And physically, I've been smart with that. I remember I used to tell my mama one of the worst things that could probably happen to me. Like, when I was a kid, I was out there in the streets, you know what I mean? So I said to my mama then, I said, listen, one of the worst things, the one experience I don't ever want you to have is you getting that call that your son got killed. So I was smart out there, you know what I mean? But I know how to be physically safe. I'm smart. I ain't walking down dark alleys. I'm not doing weird stuff like that. But I never put emotionally safe as a top priority for the most part. And what recognizing healing as a social event did for me was allow for me to recognize parts of myself that I've always needed, that were very important to me, but I wasn't always aware of. So when you're on this healing process, you never know when your answers may come or who they may come from. But the one thing that you should do is be aware of the possibilities and be open to including others into your process. Because what you'll notice is there is this collective feeling for change. Everywhere I go, everyone I talk to, everyone wants something a little different, and they all don't quite know what it is. So what I see now, it is a collective healing and a collective change. So if you put it out there, you will find people who will support you in this process. All right. So what I'm going to do, because my mouth is a little dry, I'm going to take like a 5-minute intermission. I'm going to bring on one guest, and I'm going to do a couple of readings. If you would like to join in and would like to have your energy read, please leave a little message in the chat and I will send you the link to join. So give me about 3 minutes and I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. I'm about to try to bring in a guest to join me. Give me 1 second. Stop lagging. Johnny, all right. Here we go. How you doing? Faith, can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Thanks for
Am
all
I
your
echoing?
support. You say it again in English?
See.
See, don't embarrass me. I was trying to be professional and nice this whole time. And here you go. I gotta get rid of healing. Okay, let me get that off the screen.
It's
So
echoing.
for you, or is it echoing for me too? It's echoing since you've been in here. When you on Facebook, was it echoing?
I can't tell. But anyway, what's the,
Was it echoing on Facebook?
I can't. No.
Okay, so good. Well,
Yeah,
we the only ones that can hear the echo. I ain't gonna cry because I finally figured it out for it to not echo over here. And so long as it ain't streaming, because technically I'm streaming
Can you
on
turn it down?
on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch right now. So hello everybody. As a matter of fact, let me see if I got somebody else going on. Okay, no. There we go. So we got more stream. Okay, so Faith, how are you doing? Tell us a little bit about yourself. Please please tell us what you do, what you're doing right now, because I can see your hands moving. So in case anybody would like to place an order with you.
Right, right. I was crocheting, making foot,
Some
and for the most
hoodies.
part, I'm gonna stay at home.
Okay, so, and you crochet?
Yes, I do.
What type of things do you crochet?
Knit
Because you
ruffle
said you
hats.
crocheting booties, but I know that's not the only thing you crochet.
Yeah, ruffle hat, booties. Hold on, just scarves, fake blankets,
Okay, a little bit of
all kinds.
everything. Could
Yeah.
I get a knitted shirt from you? Or you don't do shirts?
Give me a week before the bet.
Okay. No, that's right. Let me find out your baby try to join the live too.
She is. That seems to be the thing for you.
Oh, okay. So check this out. So I can read hers if you want me to. Now she won't know, but you can ask me, and I'll read hers for you since she in the room. Her energy is there, and she ain't finna leave you.
Okay.
So, all right, cool beans. All right, so you the mama, you gonna make the choices. I upgraded y'all. I got some new pendulums, so I'm definitely letting people choose again. I got
Speaking to the
my.
mic, sir.
I said I got some new pendulums. I got the blue. Would you care for blue? I'm gonna give you and then I got my purple amethyst steel. Okay, I got a question. Can you hear this? Oh, you in the room with me. You probably can't hear that no more. Anyway. Alright, sorry y'all. Y'all hear them weird sounds. She told me to do it. And then I got my honest. Which one you feel like gonna fit for your baby?
Let's do the new one. Let's do the blue.
The blue. Alright. So now I'm gonna tell you, I do be judging people off of the ones that they pick. So, if you watch on YouTube, of course I shared my spiritual journey that I went on, right? And one of the things that it did was teach me the colors of my life. So there is a reason why I choose only got purple and blue, right? So for me, those are what I learned on my trip, but those are two of the colors that I relate to the most, which also relate to chakras, you know what I mean? But purple was my pain and addiction. So generally, when people pick purple, I know I'm gonna find a pain. You know what I mean? And then my blue was my anger and my rage.
Oh,
So when people pick blue, you see, I even wear the blue in the what's name. So, because what it also represents is my passion. So, baby girl represents something that you're passionate about, or we gonna find some anger and rage. All right, so y'all gotta do all of them. We can do a couple. Let's do. How many you want to do? I'll let you choose.
solar plexus to start with.
You say it again in English.
Her solar plexus.
Oh, you want to start? Very good. So we're gonna start with the solar plexus. She got some nervous energy, but my hands started sweating. So here we go.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, I can tell you that. That's probably why she around you. She got some nervous energy trying to see what's going on. But here we go. Okay, stop spinning. You're familiar. See, you look familiar. So, to those watching, solar plexus for the most part is your stomach area, right up in here.
Can you turn it down?
And so, as a matter of fact, it'll show up with stomach problems, stomach pains, stuff like that. So when I did Reiki this weekend, one of the reasons I had to do Reiki was a person was experiencing pain in their solar plexus. And so I had to lay my healing hands on them to try to get that pain. And of course, their solar plexus energy was off a little bit too. So some of this could be an extension of you, I don't know, or it's just her. So we're gonna see what I feel. She got a little bully energy going on with her.
Yeah.
So with children, a lot of times the energy is going to be both directions. You know what I mean? So it may not necessarily be like your daughter. She ain't out there bullying kids, so you don't have to worry about that. But that could be the energy that she feels. That sometimes she feels bullied, and then she definitely children aren't above bullying. And the first person they love to bully is their parents. You know what I mean? They love to tell parents everything they're gonna do, what you're gonna do. So she definitely has a little bully energy around her.
Can you get closer to the mic?
Yeah, so I said she does have a little bullying energy around her. So you heard all that bully stuff? You want me to say it again?
Yeah.
You heard it? I
Yeah.
said it again. Okay, cool.
Said it comes from both.
Okay, yeah, got it. So which is ironic, and I don't even know how to. Okay, all right. So I get this feeling of apathetic. Okay, Jesus Christ. Here we go. Now you back. You can hear me. Okay. Sorry about that, y'all. You know, technology's got technology in. Can you hear me, Faith?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I don't know what happened. It said the stream disconnected for a little bit. So, but now we're back in it. So with the apathy, you don't really have to, you don't really have to be conscious. It's like honestly, I don't know why this example popped in my mind, but the example that popped in my mind is like a boy being raised by a single mom. You know what I mean? So knowing some of the boundaries, a single mom has to be vigilant about making sure their son is in around positive male role models. You know what I mean? So you're going to have to be vigilant about showing her emotions. You know what I mean? It may be honest. It may be, you know what I mean? Some of them may be tough, but you're going to have to be vigilant. And how old is your baby?
She's 4.
Okay, so at 4, they can understand a lot more than we give them credit for. And I trust that you can figure out the right words to help her understand. You know what I mean? You'll say it in kid language, and if you can't quite figure it out in kid language, just shoot me, you know what I mean? Shoot me a message, and I'll help you figure out the words, explain it. But other than that, just make sure you're being a little intentional. And it's not just showing her the loving thing, but allowing her to see a lot of the stuff too. You know what I mean? But smart about it. So and sometimes it could be as simple as being loving to strangers. You know what I mean? So make sure you take a little bit more time to talk to the cashier, showing them love, you know what I mean? So she can understand that it comes from a little bit of everywhere. You know what I mean?
Got it.
Let me see. I get stubborn, but you know, that might be in her blood, so I don't know what
It
to do.
is.
So that might be her blood. So I definitely don't know what to do about that. Let me see if this oh no.
She's out of the room now, so I guess it's on me.
For real. Okay, so she left you now, but that's all right. You done gave me permission. Something wild going on. I don't think we stream live on Facebook, but they'll be alright. Yeah, it got some mess going on. Lo siento.
Whenever you're ready.
You say it again in English?
Crown.
Alright, let's do it. Let's get this crown now. She thinking all the time. Well, that might be my bad luck thing again, because you know, every time I say I know somebody about to do it, wrong. So, it might be still. Okay, yeah, we doing the blue. Here we go.
All right, we got some movement.
Hold on, let's see. I feel like it's gonna do something better. All right, let's get it together. Okay. So she using it not too much. You know what I mean? She can use it a little bit more, but she's a kid. Who gives a damn, really? But for you, okay. So I would teach her a little more about spirituality. Share some more of that with her, because I feel like she, you know what I mean? She got a little thing going on with her spiritual connection. And she got some stuff going on with her imagination. So I would figure out ways to allow her to be a little more imaginative. I don't know what that means.
I try my best to do that.
You
But
do.
she's very imaginative.
Yep. So that means she need more. So or what you can do is find the one thing she loves and go crazy about it. You know what I mean? Because you never know, it might grow up to be something that she might grow up and that be, excuse me, what she does with herself. You know what I mean? And I think about that a lot of times as children. Our parents don't always know what to support us on, so they don't support us on anything. But you spend enough time with your baby girl where you starting to see some of the things she like. And you just test the water, like go all in on each thing one at a time. And she'll give you the response till she got there. You'll start to see her getting it together. You'll see it in her eyes. You'll see her mind start turning. You know how she look when she's starting to understand and starting to appreciate. So that's exactly what you will get.
Okay.
I'm gonna do this one time for you because I know you love it. Hey.
No.
I know you love
I always say it was gonna do
it. I changed my mind. How about that? All right. We can do one more, and that will be probably a good hour, so that'll be good.
Intuition.
That's a good one. So I was looking at myself and be like, what other one would I want to know on a kid? You know what I mean? But yeah, you want to know if she's moving into.
You need to continue to speak to like her. You know
Excuse
your
me
friend
for
is
yelling at me like that. Is this better for you? How about I use your favorite voice? All right, so for the rest of this is what you're gonna get. I hope ain't nobody watching this because I can edit this out so nobody know this even happened for now. Or maybe you want to. Maybe it sounds a little better when I use this. So.
Let's not do that either.
Yeah, that sounds crazy. I don't like that one. I like the Halloween one better than the other one. This sounds scary, but it'd be good for Halloween. So if I do a Halloween video, like 7 years ago. Exactly. That's bananas. Anyway, so yeah, I think you definitely want to know if your kid is moving intuitively through life and they're not just bumping into walls and shit.
Right.
All right, so let's see that brow. Come on, baby girl, don't let us down.
Gotta work on her.
Yeah, a little bit. Nah, the good thing about it though is she actually will be. It ain't bad.
Into the mic.
Oh my God! So one thing, she actually ain't bad. One thing that I do like about what we just did is one thing I always forget to tell people is so you know the chakras move like a snake. So the spin should be in opposite directions. You know what I mean? And I actually paid attention to that. So we just did her crown and it spun that way as much as it could in her what's name. So they spinning in the right direction. It might just be where she at in time right now. You know what I mean? She don't have to do nothing intuitively. It's close to wind down time, all types of crazy things. So that definitely might have something to do with it. Give me a second. Let me check this thing again. Yeah, I think my live ended. Do. Yes, I was live.
You picking up anything from your paper? You haven't got there.
You said, am I picking up anything from what? Am I picking up anything from what?
Your paper that you read from.
It's all kid stuff, so it's all, you know what I mean, the stuff that makes sense. Like I got something with the fantasy, but that makes sense. So like her intuition ain't really off, you know what I mean? I really do feel like it's because the time that we read it is where she at in life, you know what I mean? Like bedtime.
Right.
I keep looking at charismatic, but that's because she doing good in that. Like I get a good feeling about her charisma, you know what I mean? Ain't worried about her meditating. Ain't nobody worried about her being seen as wise. I do keep going to spaced out, you know what I mean? But I don't even know how you would address that for children. You got what I'm saying?
Right.
You know what I mean? That's just what they do. So I wouldn't even really worry about the intuition that much, you know what I mean? Because it isn't that off, it's spinning in the right direction. I really just feel like the only reason why I wasn't spinning as hard because she probably stalking you or, you know what I mean? Like literally what she's doing right now is why she ain't got to use it, you know what I mean? So I really think that's the main thing going on with baby girl.
Okay.
So nothing too serious. All right.
So you never made it back on live?
Yeah, it ended my live when I was his name. I'm trying to see if I can go live again, but hold on, here we go. This is what I'm gonna do. Stay on. Okay, I'm gonna stop the stream. And if I stop the stream and start again, it's gonna be retarded. I mean, I'm done everywhere. Hold on, but they ain't hit none of it, so I'm just gonna post it everywhere, so they'll be alright.
Right.
Because we about to wrap it up now. Ain't no need to be started with like, all right, everybody, thanks for a great show. We'll see you next week. Press all my buttons and shit. I don't even know if I'm gonna leave that out. So yeah, all right. It's still echoing on the side. I don't, man.
No, it's not echoing, but it's breaking up.
Word.
Yeah, I don't know if you noticed, but I was leaning closer, try to
Yeah,
hear
but I didn't know if it was because I was close enough or what. I guess, hey, man, one audio problem at a time, right? Shit. We learned on the other earlier today, so one audio problem at a time. And the other thing I'm happy about, I don't got to put my words backwards no more.
Yeah, I know. Read it now.
Whoop, whoop.
Do you have your video mirrored or what?
You know what?
The video.
No, I think it's just because it's this weirdo webcam. You know what I mean? It came from China, so they already probably knew what time it was. But I think, actually, I really, but that's probably the upgrade special. I said, I really, I'm praying the Lord now. I said, I told ya. Listen now. Because you know I'm about to cut all this bullshit out, right? Okay?
Right.
But, yeah, I'm about to cut all this bullshit out. I forgot
Might
what I
as
was
well.
gonna say. Oh, yeah, that's what
But you were talking about the picture,
So who would get that out?
the picture behind you.
Yeah, the Chinese, the Kingdom China song. Oh, I said I probably gonna get another webcam, but I really want one of those. I know I want one that zooms, so I can get that. That's affordable because I'm returning that
Yeah, so
dumbass.
you get the attention.
Yeah. This other thing though, I actually want one that moves with me. That's automatic. So if
I have one of those, but well, it's not the camera. It's just
the stand for the phone.
yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that. But I was thinking about the camera. Now the wild thing is, I probably will need that too, because I got this streaming app on my phone too. So
Right.
you know what I mean. So when I want to do shit and I ain't sitting in this damn box, I got you know what I mean, still streaming and use the quality of my phone.
Right.
But I don't look so bad without the beard though, right? Ooh, it look like I might have missed a spot on this side.
Ooh, terrible! I didn't notice.
Oh, you see me on your pen.
Ada, you got your camera's not as close as mine is,
You said,
so I really can't see like this. Yeah,
oh,
but like I said earlier, you look good either way. You know that.
I'm glad they can't see us on live. I might as well stop this shit. Hell, what I done? Goodbye. This is 1 minute too, so I can cut this up and make some. I'm gonna have to post this on Facebook if I can, at least the link. And
Did you just say
it
Facebook?
was 4.5 gigs for 2 hours. I'm like, man, hell. So I don't know what 1 gig is. It's probably 20 minutes.
And you didn't. Well, kind of.
So what I'm trying to do too is edit the. Well, I tried to do that shit with cats. That last live I did, but that shit's too much work. So I'm gonna try with this one, make it a movie, so it'll be easier to watch.
Okay.
And then upload them, like I was gonna upload them on Facebook. That's what I've just been uploading the raw videos, not on Facebook, but I've just been uploading the raw videos on YouTube now, you know what I mean? But I'm gonna edit, you know what I mean? And then YouTube gonna get some other shit. Cause I don't know if Facebook gonna be ready for the reading, but I think I'm gonna start doing that reading shit too.
On YouTube?
Yeah. But I probably do it Facebook too, you know what I mean? Somebody click in just to hear me read them. I just gotta figure out how I wanna do the lighting, but I want it sick shit. Okay. And I might do it from the living room so I can sit in my recliner. Okay. Cause sitting up like this, like, to be balanced, joy connected to the source. That's just not going on. Yeah, that you say reading from the recliner. That's what it seems like I do, right? Yeah. With some sexy lights on and shit.
Say what?
I said with some sexy lights on and shit. I might turn on my little I got this little personal fireplace and shit. I can turn on this little dumb ass fireplace. Everybody look sexy in there for real. Like read with
That's
Andy.
the vibe.
That's funny. I
You gotta
wouldn't
be
do that
into
to
the female agency.
say it again in English.
I speak English really well,
Yeah, this is that crazy.
but I'm feed into the female fantasy.
Yes.
Eat that up.
Yeah, I gotta, see, I gotta get back into that because I ain't give a damn about female fantasies in a long time, so I was like, fuck it. If this ain't your fantasy, I don't know what to do for it. You feel me? So I'm rusty. But I'm gonna start trying to be sexy again, you know what I mean?
You feel like the love thing? I don't know.
Oh, hell yeah. Hell no. Yes. No, I mean, I think I'm still attractive, but nigga don't be sexy no more. Nigga don't be
We can
sexy.
talk later off the camera.
I thought I stopped.